when we started Anchanto in Singapore, by default, the idea was to build a global. And every time we open a country, we give an opportunity to one or two of those colleagues to go overseas and build a team there and build a business there. We always believe in building local teams, and that's the secret source of Enchanto. 4 of our big customers turn our shareholders. That definitely helps. So Enchanto customers, that they have significant growth coming in when they've implemented omnichannel strategy.
Good morning, Vaibhav.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for being here today. It's been a long time since we tried organizing this.
Yes,
so
indeed.
I'm glad we're finally doing it.
Yes.
Vaibhav, I'll start with a quick introduction of your long life story before getting into the questions. So you started out as an engineer, building already things from the ground up. And after a few early roles, you joined the fintech world at Welcome Real Time, which is a French Singaporean company. And there you climbed the ranks across engineering and products, all the way to becoming the chief technology officer of the company. Then in 2011, you made the leap, started your own company. At the time, Amazon is growing fast in the US and Europe. The e-commerce world is shaping up. Same thing in Southeast Asia. Still a nascent scene, but it doesn't afraid you. Because maturity doesn't matter. You were convinced that e-commerce would become the norm already.
Indeed.
And that businesses of all sizes would need a purpose-built technology to succeed in this new retail ecosystem. You also believe something few others talked about, which is that B2B software didn't have to be clunky or frustrating, but it could be beautiful, even enchanting.
Yeah.
Hence, you built Anchanto. But being early isn't easy, so in parallel to developing your software, you launched a service business, which was offering logistics and e-commerce services to the market, all powered by your own technology. For 7 years, Anchanto ran both models in parallel until the moment came to go all in on the product. So you sold the service arm and you went back to zero revenue. So we're in 2018 and fast forward 7 years, Anchanto is now present in 12 countries from Korea to the UK. It employs 300 people of almost 15 nationalities, I think.
Yeah.
And it powers operations for 1,500 companies like Estée Lauder, L'Oreal, Panasonic, or even Sony. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to have this conversation with me. Obviously, there's a lot we could talk about. I know you like talking. I like talking too. But we need to focus on a few precise topics from basically Anchanto's inception all the way to e-commerce and the States and what you see for the future. So I have a first question to start. As I just mentioned, there's been quite a long ride with Anchanto. So it started from a single line of code all the way to 300 employees, 300 customers in 12 countries. So how do you feel when you pause and look back at this journey?
I think looking back it gives a lot of fuel to go forward. Whenever I kind of reflect back where we started and where we are today, this reinforces that why we started is still super valid. And the entire mission of Anchanto to create something from scratch, help businesses to realize the full potential of digital commerce, build a global business from scratch, provide an employment opportunities, contribute to the economy. I think that is very, very, I would say not satisfying, happy feeling, still not satisfied yet. I believe that looking back always inspires that we have a good team in place, we have good customers, and we have a long way to go forward.
There's a few side missions, as you were talking about, that you like and you enjoy, the fact of offering job opportunities for people and growing a business in different regions, helping businesses. Is there a secret sauce of building a company from Singapore and then expanding it across Southeast Asia and even beyond the region?
I think that's the design of Singapore.
Yeah.
We are a very small country, right? We are 750 square kilometer of rock. Nothing grows here, right? We import everything, and domestic market is super small. So Singapore is born to do a global trade, global business. So when we started Anchanto in Singapore, by default, the idea was to build a global. And the company, the French company I used to work earlier, I came from India to work for that company. It was the first international experience for me. I really became a global citizen there. I saw colleagues from so many different countries, so much of diversity, traveled so much, got exposed to so many businesses, ideas, situation, that really inspired me to really build something diverse. And that gave me a belief that when you have a team on the table which comes from a different background, different culture, they speak different languages, the diversity, the heterogeneity of ideas on the table is amazing. That's where you have the best ideas that come on the table. And Singapore provides an opportunity to exploit that. So in Singapore, we have a trade relationship with so many countries. Singapore is a great brand. So by being a Singaporean company, we are by default geared to build a global business. The government of Singapore helps a lot in terms of the Enterprise Singapore. They provide a lot of guidance, handholding, introduction, connections, grants sometimes for Singaporean companies to go and set up overseas. All of that, the local talent available here, all of that makes it possible to build a global company. And the playbook exists. It just needs execution.
So how do we execute? For the past 4 or 5 years, we've almost been opening 2 countries every year.
Yep.
So how do you operationally make sure that it is a success, that you keep the culture of the company also alive and aligned across these countries?
I think I was very lucky. I'm very lucky to have a team member coming from very different background and very ambitious colleagues who wants to learn, who wants to build things, who wants to build a global business, who want to be part of this story to build the next Salesforce from scratch. And because of that, we have this pool of talent with us. And every time we open a country, we give an opportunity to 1 or 2 of those colleagues to go overseas and build a team there and build a business there. We always believe in building local teams, and that's a secret source of Anchanto. While we build the local teams, the initiation starts with our core team members going there, setting up, bringing the best practices. As you said, bring the culture there, the DNA of the company there, and make sure that they grow the local team. So that playbook of sending 1 or 2 core team members to new market has been one of the biggest pillar for us to grow systematically while still maintaining the culture of Anchanto. I think the second part that works for us is our existing customers. So every country that we go, we first try to leverage on existing customers to see if we could work with them in that countries. And many countries, we started by first extending our existing relationship either in Southeast Asia, either in Saudi Arabia, either in UAE, or either in France or UK, and say, hey, we're setting up this country, give us an opportunity. And I was very lucky, we are a very lucky company. Our customers gave us opportunity to work with them in a new country. And when you start with at least 1 or 2 customers, with already experienced team, the core team going there, the execution becomes much more simpler. The third and last important thing that really helps us to make this happen is, and this is what you said, and is very well articulated, that Anchanto is born remote company. I think the remote became fashionable during COVID, but we were remote before. So every colleague that joins Anchanto outside Singapore is trained to work remotely because we have a headquarters in Singapore, we have a large engineering team back in India, we have customer support place in 4 or 5 countries, we have the global account managements working across the region. So everybody at Anchanto is by default geared to work with the team members globally in different time zones. And I think that DNA, that reflects of, hey, we work with global team from by default, helps us. So nobody feels alien being working in a different or a completely new country.
That's true. There's also another part, I feel, of Anchanto's journey that is important and that helped us in this expansion. It's the investors that Anchanto has. So Anchanto has very singular particularity, which is that most of the investments came from customers.
Yes.
So can you talk a bit about this and how it helped shape the company and its direction?
We are very unique in that sense. Whenever I wanted to raise money, I was cheap enough to go to my existing big customers and say, hey, look, you're already using my software. You're very happy. You're growing very well with Anchanto. And why not you become part of the story? And because of that, we have almost 95% of investment dollar coming in Anchanto by our customers. 4 of our big customers turned our shareholders. That definitely helps. So the first one was a company called Transcosmos. It's a Japanese conglomerate listed on Tokyo Stock Exchange, second generation business, extremely successful business. They are customers, they are shareholders, and they help us. Similar goes with a company called Ascendia, which is a joint venture between a Swiss Post and a French Post. They are Anchanto's one of the biggest customer in top 5, and they're also a shareholder. And also we work with a company called Lux Asia, which is one of the largest luxury and fragrance distribution business and omnichannel leader in this part of the world. They are our customers and they're also our shareholders. That unique blend when you're backed by businesses which are not there for IRR or which are not there to flip the money before the end of the fund life, the discussions are very different in the boardroom. Boardroom discussion is all about synergies. Boardroom discussion is all about strategy. Boardroom discussion is all about how they are navigating, because our shareholder and we are in the same situation. So when there's a downturn or when there's a challenge or when there's a situation like, for example, tariff, me and my shareholders, we all face same situation. So the board discussion is never a short-sighted discussion. It's all about what they are doing, how can we help each other, and how do we navigate together. And there is slightly less pressure in terms of pure financial performance, but there is a lot of handholding and a lot of exchange of ideas that happen around how do we together navigate and learn from each other.
So we're talking about expansion, which is not always a fairy tale and not always easy, especially in the world of e-commerce and supply chain that moves so much. So when we moved from Southeast Asia and expanded to Europe and Middle East, what's the biggest slap on the face that you took when we expanded, when we entered these new markets, completely different culturally from Southeast Asia, although there was also already a lot of cultural differences. But in terms of the way the market is shaped, the maturity of the market, and the new discussions that you could have over there.
I think the biggest slap on the face was we kind of underestimated the product localization, I would say. Right. And we were assuming that we are very well localized. We're already present in 7-8 countries. And when we went to those markets, that was a reality check that the customers, the users were coming from an extremely different background than our current set of users. To kind of figure out that very quickly and fail on the thesis that we built together was a very humbling experience, right? We also kind of had a bit of few embarrassing situation where we were trying to solve the problem for our customers in those markets, which were not a very valid problem. We thought those problems exist here in Southeast Asia, but when we actually look at that in the Middle East, for example, specifically in market like UAE or Saudi, the problems are there very, very different. Problem in the Asia are very different. Of course, the problem in Asia are much more complex. We are very diverse in this part of the world. It's not one country, it's a continent. The complexities are very different. But then we were a bit embarrassed to see that our thesis were not very valid in terms of solving the problem and localization in those markets.
So on the other side, Anchanto is a Southeast Asian company. We're proud of this. And we're one of the rare companies in the field to come from here. So we did have awakening moments when we entered the market, but we also come with a lot of expertise and experience of different use cases to the market. So when it comes to these European brands, Middle East brands and companies, what do you want to tell them? What kind of message you want to pass to say, like, look, this is what we know, this is what we've done, and this is why we have an added value compared to the competition in the region?
Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting point, right? So a couple of things. Number one is the challenges in a business are always a function of a time, right? If you look at that way. The challenge of businesses in Southeast Asia faced 18 months back are very different than what is today. The problem the brands faced in Southeast Asia, let's say 2015, are very different than what they face in 2016. That's one thing. Southeast Asia has moved very fast in terms of adoption of e-commerce, adoption of models, adoption of channels. A lot of innovation, if you see, for e-commerce has happened in this part of the world, just because of the dynamicity of this region, because of a different degree of competition. Southeast Asia is not yet a full duopoly market. There was a time 4 years back in Indonesia, everybody was claiming to be number one, and there were like 12 marketplaces there. There was a time in Vietnam, everybody was claiming to be number one, and there were like 6 of them there, right? So we have been through a period of intense competition, which means that we face the challenges and disruption and new models much more frequent as compared to what typically brand faces in Europe or a developed world. And those markets are fast moving towards duopoly plus some category killers that we see there, right? So our message to the brands and in the Europe and the retailers in the Europe is that we come from the world where it has evolved probably at 5 to 10 times faster than how your world evolves there. We are used to reacting very fast. We are used to solving much more complex model fast. We are used to build the capabilities for backend to support the new model, for example, live commerce, chat commerce, social commerce, at a lightning speed. We bring that agility, we bring that speed, we bring that understanding that it's fine to change. We see in a Western world that sometimes it takes 6 months to 1 year to just react to a new channel. Here, we already react that within a week's time, right? So we bring in that agility, we bring in that speed, and we are extremely comfortable to get a new challenge. The logistics challenges that we have solved in this part of the world are much more complex. When you do a logistics in country like Indonesia, where it got like probably 17,000 to 12,000 island plus minus, depending upon high tide or low tide, you have a different challenges as compared to you delivering parcels in Manchester or Leeds. We are battle hardened. We know what it takes to solve these problems, and we are bringing all of this learning to the Western world.
There's a particular use case to Southeast Asia. It's cross-border. You were just talking about tariffs earlier. We know it's a very moving topic. We don't know what the future is holding, but what do you want to say about this? How do you see this situation and the impact it might have on the ecosystem?
So, a couple of things here on the tariff. My understanding so far, based upon what limited knowledge I have and I read about, is that tariff has not got back the jobs to the US as of now. What it really proved so far is that the discount-based e-commerce model can be disrupted. So if you see a Temu transactions before tariff and after tariff, there is a big difference there. So that I see as one of the big impact in terms of e-commerce. The companies which were the e-commerce platform shipping from this part of the world to the Western world, they got impacted pretty badly, definitely. We start to see that there are models coming in which are kind of not circumventing it, but which are enabling the same brands, same shoppers from different geographies or near shore or from the US. In terms of tariff, it definitely slowed down. It definitely created a lot, and it is still there. It definitely created a lot of unknown. It definitely created a lot of supply chain, I would say, a lack of visibility, changing rules over a period of time. It also created a lot of, I would say, slowdown in terms of manufacturing and online activities. The full impact of tariff, I think we still don't know. And we still don't know how it will evolve over a period of time. But it has left some impact for sure.
So definitely for these companies, it's going to change the way they build their strategy and the way they operate in the future. Besides tariff and cross-border, there's also all the new models of e-commerce. There's all these changes that happen consistently. So as a retailer, as a brand, as a service provider in the ecosystem, how do I gear up technologically to prepare for any of these changes and make sure that I'm future ready, as people like to say?
I think you can never be future ready, right? So that's what my 2 cents are. There is a model that comes in, and there are models coming in every day. Different way of selling, different types of promotion, different types of, I would say, activities and sometimes gimmick to generate a revenue or improve the revenue or cut down the operational wastage. What businesses need to do is that they need to find a way that the gap from when the new model becomes prominent, significant minority enough that a brand needs to react to it, right? And then the brand needs to make sure that they cut short the time to react it. So for example, when TikTok came in, right, everybody was kind of waiting initially, let's see if TikTok is growing or not. Everybody wanted to see that how significant it becomes. Everybody wanted to see what's a cancellation rate, what's a fulfillment rate, so how TikTok is going to do payment, for example, all of that thing, right? And when it becomes significant, single digit, everybody wanted to have TikTok. And now it is significant double digits now, and everybody is rushing for it, right? So how do you cut short the time? So essentially, brands leverage a lot on the partners like Anchanto, for example, who build the technology backbone for businesses to react to the new model. What brand needs to make sure is to kind of have a technology partner who can react faster, number one. Number two, a technology partner who knows and keeps the track of all of these new channels, new way of selling, in a way that they spend enough money in R&D, enough time to understand, enough time to pre-integrate those channels and make them available faster. Brands most of the time do not build the technologies in-house. So they leverage on partners. So I think the best way to react faster is to have a partner like Anchanto who reacts faster for you.
We've been involved in a lot of digital transformation projects with companies that told us the past few projects failed.
Yes.
So you just mentioned choosing the right technology partner that can evolve fast. What are the other items, or how do, as a CIO of a large company, how do I ensure that this project, digital transformation project that is so important for companies, the shift of retail, so the way they're going to distribute, the way they're going to operate all together, is going to be completely modified. So how do I make sure that this project is successful? How are you accompanying companies today to make sure that they reach the objective and their ambition?
Yeah, I remember very clearly. This was like 4 years back. We entered a kickoff meeting with one of the Fortune 500 brand, a cosmetic brand. And during the kickoff meeting, one of the first sentence by their, I think, CIO or CDMO was that we have failed 6 times to implement an order management systems to enable our brands on omnichannel in this part of the world. We don't want to fail 7th time, right? Then we kind of dig deeper and know why they failed, and we realized, and they went live there. Now we're live with us in 9 countries, extremely successful, live in first attempt. I think biggest difference come here is what typical reflex of the CIOs is that if something has worked for other brand or something has worked for them in other country, they want to take that and apply in a new country or new region. And I think this is where the challenge starts. So if, for example, if you're that particular brand, they were pretty successful with one of the OMS in one country. The company was coming very focused on solution for that country. It's a duopoly market, everything works smooth, less complications, almost no complications. And they try to bring that into this part of the world, which is a completely different world, which is intense, which is changing fast, which is cost conscious, which has a very different behavior, and it failed. And it also failed because that those technology providers were having zero understanding of this part of the world. They had no local presence. Yeah. They leverage on some third partners to kind of implement for that. So not having the local context, not having the battle-hardened local product, and trying to bring something from the market and applying the same template to the new market, I think is one single biggest reason. Number one. Number two reason that we see why brands fail is that they sometimes, I've seen that they go with very low-cost local solutions, right? So typically looking from a point of view that, hey, this solution is 1/10 of the price. Maybe the solution provider is offering that price to just win that brand as a trophy brand, or that solution provider is just probably coming from 1 or 2 level below than the market segment where the brand is. So for example, if the brand is Fortune 500 brand, they select sometimes a solution that is not built for the Fortune 500 companies. Those solutions are built for local SMEs. That step up for a SME-based solution to kind of address the complexities of much larger brand, do the payment reconciliation, do the enterprise integration, do the security certification, do the penetration test, handle that level of volume, they fail there. So we've seen these 2 main reasons. Either taking something from outside, applying it, hoping that it will work, or trying to plug and pray the SME solution at low cost and try to create something that, hey, I build a new platform at 1/10 of the price, and then at the end you end up paying much higher.
I want to go back on the channels. You were talking a bit about TikTok earlier. Are you a TikTok user?
I am not.
And you have two children, two
Yes.
sons. Are they on TikTok? Do you see them use this kind of new shopping models today, TikTok Shop or others like live commerce?
They both are on Instagram. One of them was on TikTok, and then he still I think on TikTok, but heavy Instagrammer.
Okay. And are they shoppers or are you a shopper? What kind of shopper are you today?
I'm not an online shopper.
You're not an online shopper.
I'm not an online shopper.
So how do you shop
I'm
today?
very old school. So I typically shop online only the product that I purchase multiple times in offline
Mhm.
world. Right. If I'm buying something new, I still prefer to go with my family or with friends, with my wife many times. Most of the shopping for me, online shopping, is done by my wife, not by me. Right.
So how does that influence your perception of the market and the value proposition you have for brands and your different customers?
This actually helps me a lot because I have zero bias, right? Because I'm not a regular online shopper. I'm a keen observer to observe the people's habit, and not because I'm not a fan of particular channel or particular way of shopping. That gives me a lot of neutrality to see people behavior and a trend without any luggage or bias.
Southeast Asia is kind of a place where a lot of new shopping models are born. TikTok Shop started growing in the region. Live commerce is very important here. There's a lot of omnichannel, of course. How do you see the ecosystem evolve in the future and the place also of its different stakeholders? We have in Southeast Asia distributors, enablers, logistics service providers, brands, retailers, etc. A lot of different business models. So how do you see this ecosystem evolve in the future?
We are at a very interesting time. I believe that retail is coming back. I believe that showrooming is well accepted. And we start to see that now. The brands are diverting some significant part of their investments from online only to online and offline. Right? That touch point for the customers is extremely important. May not be there for all brands, may not be there for every type of the price point product, but for significant number of products, this is happening. And this is happening at a different degree in different countries. So for example, there are countries where shops are really, really deserted. There are countries where they have a lot of ghost malls. And there are countries where people are coming back to the showroom, right? So it is a combination of all of it. But overall, as a trend, we start to see, at least in this part of the world, we see that retailers are again investing on creating retail experience with a digital purchase and behavior in mind. So essentially what's happening is retail is becoming one of the prominent channel in omni-channel scheme. People want to come and experience the product, not necessarily buy it, right? And having that retail presence to kind of anchor a customer with the product experience where they can touch and feel and try a product, but ultimately buy it online from the comfort of their couch or bed and whenever get it delivered. We also see that retailers are investing a lot in this part of the world to create that endless IS experience. So when a customer has a footfall, the customer is in store, and if the product is not available, retailer wants to find a way that they can take an order from the customer for that particular product, which is not there in stock, and then they deliver or enable second visit to kind of collect that product from another store, which probably is near to the customers. We start to see that more and more brands are now kind of putting in efforts to create a real complete omni-channel strategy. There was a lot of traction on marketplaces. I think marketplaces has now hit inflection point. That entire growth that was happening just because of promotion, discount, free shipping, that is over now. That is no more happening. What is happening here is now a demand-driven growth and not a supply-driven growth. And in this market, if a retailer can create a one more touch point, they see a lot of value. And we start to see a lot of success cases. We start to see that with a lot of Anchanto customers, that they have significant growth coming in when they implemented omni-channel strategy. And the entire, now they call it digital revenue, because omni-channel is a digital experience for customer. Digital revenue growth is combined together is significant percentage-wise as compared to pure .com growth or pure retail growth.
So you talk about omnichannel. How do you define it in 2025?
I think omnichannel is an experience to customers. Omnichannel is providing a touch point, an experience point at every point where a customer or consumer wants to interact with the brand. So is it on TikTok? Yes, we're available as a brand there. A customer wants to check out, a consumer wants to check out on a TikTok channel. Then a brand makes and checkout available on TikTok. Consumer wants to check out on a social commerce. The consumer wants to check out on a chat commerce. Consumer wants to check out on a retail store, at a retail store, or a marketplace, or .com store. And that convenience, that consistent experience, consistent brand experience across every digital and in-person touch point is an omnichannel.
There's another model that gained traction, which is the D2C model.
Yeah.
Nike is kind of an ambassador of this keyword, but actually it takes different shape and form and strategies across the world. So how do you see this direct-to-consumer D2C kind of strategy today? And looking at Nike, that kind of changed their strategy recently. So they went all in into the model, omni-channel D2C. Now they're kind of coming back to it, working more with their retailers and distributors. How do you see this today?
I think Nike overreacted. Nike went too far in terms of not understanding the consumer behavior, but almost going to a stage where they were enforcing their model of choice on the consumers.
Mm-hmm.
Nike consumers were not only buying online. Nike consumer wanted to have that retail experience. And when Nike focused too much only on a D2C, they really alienated their old-time friends and partners and people who brought the growth to them, which were their retail partners, which were their distributors, which were the businesses which were selling Nike products in offline stores. And when that huge, I would say, channel and partner base and retail touchpoint got alienated, that gave an opportunity to Nike's competitor to come in there and take the spot. And we start to see that whenever you do anything at the extreme level and you force only one channel on a customer don't want that. Consumers have preferences. Everybody has preferences. And we have to, as a brand, have to respect those preferences. When you don't respect those preferences, you get Nike. Right? And that's what happened to Nike. Now they are realizing that they went too far. And then now they are adjusting. It's going to be very interesting to see if the consumers are going to come back and love the Nike the way they used to love in the past. I'm not sure. Will Nike go back to where they were belonging to earlier? So that's a good learning, and that's a great experience. And recently, earlier at one of the event, I presented a case study on Nike about it. I think the slides are available on Anchanto YouTube or LinkedIn page. And D2C has to be taken into account of what your consumer wants. You should not be forcing a particular channel in a particular way, but listen to your consumers and then find the easiest way for a consumer, as per their preferences, to go directly to the consumer.
You just mentioned the importance of retailers in Nike's success. In all around the world, there's another partner that enables the success of all the retailers and brands. It's the third-party logistic companies, logistic service providers. Now that the market has reached a certain level of maturity, there's more and more discussions. Do I bring my logistics in-house? Do I keep working with service providers? So operations costs, on the other hand, are rising for these logistic service providers. So basically, their margins are getting thinner and thinner. The big players, they're going to survive, of course. They have a lot of different arms and businesses. What about these medium-sized players? Is there a future for mid-sized 3PLs today?
I think what's happening here is, at least for the consumer brands and online sellers, which has a product in certain strata or certain price point and above, they are starting to realize more and more that online retailing is one experience for consumer, but receiving a parcel is second and one of the most important experience. It has happened many times that brands were investing a lot of money, way out of proportion money, to get a consumer to the website and check out. So spending a lot of money to get a customer to check out. but spending almost no money and squeezing every cent of the last mile delivery experience. The only experience where consumer meets somebody in person, somebody's handing over the parcel, right? And a lot of cost cutting happened there. A lot of race to bottom in the last mile delivery happened there. And that created a lot of bad experiences. And now I think brands are realizing that the last mile delivery, the 3PL business is also a part of their customer experience. And they start to treat it that way now. With that, there are certain logistics, mid-sized third-party logistics company who provide a specialized service, who are very good either in certain particular customer service or particular delivery or particular type of delivery. And they charge premium for sure, but they provide great services. So a generalized 3PL, small, medium 3PL, their prospects are a bit limited, but we see that there are more and more 3PLs that are specialized and they have built a great product. They have mastered the craft for their trade. And those 3PLs are actually getting a good traction. So they definitely have a bright future.
No transition. I have a question that's been bugging me since we started talking. It's about these new models and channels. There's a concept that also is brands are facing, especially when they sell on Amazon. And I wanted to ask you about it. It's the crap status. I didn't know when I could ask you this question, so I'm going for it. So crap means can't realize any profits. And it's a status that some products reach. And it seems that these brands are facing more and more challenges, understanding and being able to push all their inventory and their catalog on marketplaces because they have to reach this certain level of profit and not fall into the crap status. So what do you know about this status? How do you see it today? And how can brands prevent facing this kind of issue?
Yeah, so CRAP is a very interesting concept. CRAP stands for can't realize any profit, and there are a lot of CRAP sellers, brands there on Amazon, on Lazada, on Shopee, on TikTok, even a lot of D2C brands there, right? And I particularly liked it. It's very interesting to kind of classify it in a certain way, which is also a bit there's a bit of humor there, right? This is not a new phenomenon. There have always been brands and online sellers which never realize any profit. But they maintain that channel. They maintain that channel with the hope, and hope is not a strategy, with the hope that one day they will realize profit. One promotion, they will realize profit. 11/11, they'll realize profit. But they don't. Or sometimes they get out of the crap status and they go back to the crap status. Or they live out of 12 months, they live in crap status for almost 10 months, and they are making profit in 2 months. And if you take an annualized basis, it's not. We also call them as a zombie, either not alive, not dead brands in terms of the financial, I would say, viability of those businesses. There are many of them. There are many of them in this part of the world as well. Why they are there? Different reasons. Why they landed there is just because they lacked a very solid e-commerce strategy, because they went online to be an online. They never went online to make money. They never went online with a complete business model to support their thesis to go online. And probably they went online and then the world changed online, and they never adopted their pricing strategy, their promotion strategy, their product mix, their assortment. And then they landed in a state where they can't realize any profit. We also see that a lot of businesses are losing money. There is a clear killer in their digital P&L. They just don't realize that killer. When at Anchanto, we look at the data, and when we analyze that data, we realize that there is a significant, almost between 20 to 35% of the revenue never hits the P&L of brand. That evaporates before. That gets cancelled, that gets refunded, that gets returned even before the order is realized. But what hits their P&L is actually the cost associated with that cancellation, with that return, with that refund. So it actually impacts their bottom line without ever touching their top line. And when you look at all those reasons and data, then you realize that, it's normal. And those businesses are just not acting on what is actually killing their profitability.
You just transition to one of my next questions, which is about returns and cancellations. It's definitely now that, as you were saying, the market is reaching kind of an inflection point. We're moving away from supply-driven to demand-driven situation. Returns cancellations is creating a lot of issues. Obviously, it's an ecological nightmare because it's trips for nothing.
Yep.
Sometimes products are destroyed. It's an operational nightmare for operation team to know what do I do with this product? Has it been open? Where do I redistribute it? How do I repackage it? And it's a P&L nightmare for the finance teams. So how do I reduce my exposure as a brand to return and cancellation without, I would say, ruining my customer experience by maybe putting too many barriers or a choke point in the funnel to prevent these cancellations and returns?
Interesting, and you got me started on this topic because this is a topic that I'm spending the last 20 months to kind of figure out how do we solve this. So it was very interesting. We're looking at some of the data in our system, and then we realized that hey, there's this silent killer in the digital P&L of the brands, and we spent a lot of time, almost 2 months, to kind of dig detail into it. What's happening here, and that's where we kind of then zeroed in on a return, cancellation, and refund. It is operational nightmare, but from my experience and talking to a lot of CDMOs, talking to a lot of head of supply chain, talking to a lot of CFOs specifically, we realize that it's actually, first, it's a P&L issue. It's not an operation issue. It was not addressed so far at this level of intensity because it was always seen as an operations issue. Mm-hmm. Return, and based upon our data, the cancellation because of logistics issues is probably 7th or 8th reason for cancellation. There are very, very strong reasons why consumer cancel the order, why consumer wants a return, why the consumer wants a refund, and logistics is not in top 5 for sure, right? So it is a completely a P&L issue. And when we work with a lot of brands and we are deploying our new AI-based platform for brands to reduce the cancellation and return and refunds, and we start to see that when brands look at the cancellation as a P&L issue and not as an operations issue, the solutions are very different. The actions are very different. The strategies to address this is very different. When you look at other operation issues, it doesn't get addressed fully. It was never addressed fully. We see this as an issue that actually needs to be looked from a very, very strategic point of view. And this has also an angle, as you mentioned earlier, about the amount of carbon that we're creating. 20% parcels come back. Almost 8% order gets cancelled when they are picked and packed and they're ready. So somebody has to unpack them. Somebody has to destroy all the packaging material. Somebody has to do the QC one more time. Somebody has to do the inbound one more time. All that packaging material goes west. When order is shipped, the amount of carbon it is producing, to bring it back. And as you rightfully said, that many times products in certain categories, for example, cosmetics, innerwears, they can't be reused. They have to be destroyed straight away. And destroying those products, so the carbon it costs to manufacture this product, to ship those products, get it back, and then destroying this product without anybody realizing any value out of this product is immense. It's a lot of carbon produced. And this is where we are here at Anchanto to help businesses to first anticipate and avoid cancellation, avoid returns, avoid refunds if possible. And if it can't be avoided, then at least reduce the logistics cost and wastages coming from cancellation, return, and refund. And that itself adds at least significantly good amount of top line and bottom line to our customers. That's what we've seen. We are also seeing that $1 in cancellation in most of the categories cost almost $1.60 in bottom line impact. So it is a huge impact there, right? And we are here to kind of address those challenges with brands based upon our understanding, based upon what we learn in the market, and based upon the new machine learning model that we created in our product called Vantage.
So let's get into it. We couldn't not talk about AI.
Yes.
How is it gonna impact the world of e-commerce and supply chain? How do you see it?
Yeah, so I think it's a mixed feeling. AI till like 1 year back was a golf course discussion, right? So somebody comes to you, and an executive from a brand or logistics company, and say, "Hey, Vaibhav, do you have an AI?" And my question to them that, how many kilo do you want it? Or how many liters AI do you want it? I think the world has graduated from that to start to realize that AI is here for real. AI is here for making big difference. Me as an engineer who still look at the code, I'm a geek. My family is a geek, and if you see our YouTube channel at home, most of it is mathematics by Terence Tao about machine readable proofs and machine suggested proofs. So when I look at what's happening there as an engineer, I personally believe that AI today is underhyped. It is underhyped. It is not overhyped. This is going to change the way we live our life. This is already changing the way we do business. So when it comes to e-commerce, this is going to have much, much wider impact. What I believe here is that the best use of AI for any business or any scenario or industry is, number one, if it helps to increase the top line or improve the bottom line. And if you see all the investment happening in this part of the world in AI, companies, tech companies, which are using or applying AI, the large amount of investments is happening is when the AI is enabling top line or bottom line. So AI for growth, right? That's the area where we see a big impact. We will start to see a lot of use cases of AI in the operations part of the e-commerce business. So customer support, customer care, there is already a huge deployment happening there. That reduces your operations cost. So that helps on the bottom line. That helps in the customer experience. We start to see some interesting use cases of AI of creating the creatives. I think Meta announced last week that by 2026, most of the ad for Meta will be machine generated, AI generated ads. We'll start to see there. Interesting part, I'm not sure if a consumer really wants to buy a product based upon the machine generated images and how that will impact the consumer behavior. Where we start to see here is a personalization will go to even next level based upon AI. We would see the world where there would be a catalog for every individual. The experience will change even from the same family, two people buying online, they will get even the higher degree of personalization in the catalog. We'll start to see that there will be a lot more anticipation of the consumer expectations and what they want to buy. We will start to see that the promotions aspect of it. Today, by the way, coming back to return and cancellation, majority of the promotions are actually cancellation pit. They lead cancellation. We have seen with our data that many times cheaper product put in promotions actually drive the cancellation of the product, high value product, which never got canceled earlier. So we see a brand which has a product at like $100 range, but they're bundling that for a promotion purpose with something with $10 product. And because there is a $10 product in a bundle, consumers saying, I want to cancel it, I don't want it. And because of that, we see a lot of cancellation there. So we will see, and we are enabling those use cases for the brands where the promotions will be much more thoughtful. The promotions will be much more, I would say, consumer oriented, and promotions will be taken from a point of view of reducing the wastage. A lot of use cases to come. This is an interesting time to be alive, to be very honest with you, as an engineer. A lot more to come. I think there was a prediction done by Bill Gates a couple of days back. He says that in 10 years from now, at least all the knowledge workers will start to see 2 days a week work. Okay, I fully agree with him.
But then you hire less, no?
Not necessarily. So you deploy your best talent. So today, for example, at Anchanto, we are probably writing 30% of our code coming through written by machine. The mandate to Anchanto CTO Parimal is that we reach by 31st December, 50% of the code at Anchanto is written by machine. We want to reach to a stage where 90% of our test cases are written by, unit test cases are written by machine, by AI. When you do that, of course you get a 50, 60% productivity, but that's not for the purpose to cut down the cost. that extra 50% capacity,
Do something else.
you can deploy and do something extremely meaningful.
Mhm.
And also use that time to make sure that we are training our people to become a subject matter expert, so that they can go deeper, they can understand a particular topic deeper, and then create a better solutions.
So AI is not overhyped, as you say.
It's underhyped.
It's underhyped. What is, according to you, in the e-commerce world, what is overhyped today? What do you have doubts about for the future of e-commerce and retail? In the trends, new actors, technologies that you see?
But this, no, thought this. This is interesting. What is overhyped?
Or you think it's just, temporary. It's happening now,
Tariff.
but tariffs?
Tariff is overhyped. Tariff is overhyped for sure. CDP is overhyped from my point of view. I'm not a marketer, but I see those golf call discussion about CDP is, you're a marketer, we can discuss it. But to me, it looks like another big data discussion and how many kilo CDP you want, right? So that sounds overhyped. What I also feel overhyped is influencers.
Okay.
Influencers.
A lot of people would debate that, but
Yes. Live commerce
yeah.
in non-applicable countries where the consumer behavior is not geared for live commerce, I think that's overhyped. And a lot of those continual shopping of, we see more and more studios there, right, where the people are there, they're doing live streaming continuously, 1 hour, 2 hour, 5 hour, 3 hour. I recently saw an interview of a Singaporean influencer family where they have the entire schedule for the family to go online and sell products, and even the grandma joins the discussion. And whenever the grandma joins the discussion for selling a product online, the viewer goes up and they have product. Is this a sustainable? I don't think so. Will it last 2026? I'm not sure. Will it last 2030? I'm not sure. There will be fatigue around it, and we've seen a lot of fatigue coming in there already, right? And look at the P&L of it. The amount of content that you need to create to get $1 million sale there versus $1 million sale in GMV on different channels. I think that analysis to be done, and I see that that's slightly overhyped, at least in the part of the world where consumers don't expect it. Consumers are not very comfortable. I see people cringe about it. I see my kids, they feel very cringe when they see those live streamer, and even outside, when you walk in Singapore on the weekend, you always see some streamer dancing somewhere and trying to sell some products there. I don't think that it is sustainable.
Thank you very much, Vaibhav. Before I let you go, one last question. As you said
I see it
earlier,
coming now. I see it coming.
No. You were just talking about how your YouTube channel is made of different mathematics and technology channels. You're always keen on sharing about the last book you read or this person you heard of. Do you have any recommendation of resource, be it a book, be it someone to follow on LinkedIn, anyone interesting that people looking at this video should be giving a look?
I believe that two most important skills for anyone, and those skills are even much more relevant now, is number one is an ability to learn something new, and the second is an ability to solve the problem. And I love these both things. That's why I watch mathematics. That's why I watch a lot of physics. That's why a lot of space science. These two skills are fundamental to human journey, right? What do you learn and how do you solve the problems? I would highly recommend. I will highly recommend everyone to see this YouTube channel called Veritasium. What Veritasium does is that they take our extremely complex physics, mathematics, real-world challenges, and they break it down in a very simple way for human beings to understand. Every time I see a new Veritasium video, it intrigues me a lot to look at the other problems that way and solve those problems. So that I would recommend as one of it. If you are into machine learning, if you want to understand AI, if you want to understand applied mathematics for AI, watch any lecture you can see by Professor Terence Tao about AI and machine learning. That will change your understanding about machine learning and machine suggested proofs. Those are two things I will recommend.
Perfect. We'll put the link in the description of the video on YouTube. Well, thank you very much, Vaibhav. It was great talking to you, spending this hour.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
See you in office this afternoon.
See you there.